Okay, it's day 156.1, and here's Rod Rosenstein with the 9 Iranians pictured here. What I love about Rod Rosenstein, big hack of universities and governments. I wonder if that's a parallel construction to cover the Iwans or not in the Hezbollah group that was running here in Washington. But he didn't picture the Russians. So these are the people that can be sacrificed, and the people he didn't picture, the 13 Russians a month ago, are the ones he's protecting and still using. To me, this tells me that Rod Rosenstein considers those 13 Russians still assets. Otherwise, he would have pictured them as well. And if you just piece together the different actors and their actions, it almost tells you the whole story of the 13 Russians in America. Now, Glenn Simpson's pushing this story that Russia infiltrated the NRA. And this is Stossel at Wall Street Journal, and she's saying, oh, another crazy story. No, actually, it's quite true. It's always true. It's the Russians have infiltrated the NRA. It's not their Russians. It's Hillary's Russians. It's not Trump's Russians. It's Hillary's Russians. That's the only difference. So very quickly, just piecing things together, they give you the answers. One of the places the Russians went, the 13 Russians went, was to the was to a Ted Cruz event. And Ted Cruz likes to go to these NRA events. And so I am going to say right now, if you just put those two things together, NRA and Ted Cruz, wherever he spoke at NRA events in the primary in 2014 for candidates and as well as 2016, are going to be where the Russians were. And the answers are always in the Glenn Simpson articles himself. Glenn Simpson wrote about this guy named Torshin, who's an oil executive, as well as he's been criticized for being a mob boss. A lot of the Russian oil is illegally traded all over the world. This going back all over to Mark Rich, some of it being watered down, et cetera. And how is it coming into Long Beach Harbor, potentially Arco? It's always been questions about Russian oil coming into the port of Long Beach. But anyway, here again, they give you the answer to the test. Here's going to be the gal here who this Maria Butina. That's going to be one of the Rosnefts, Rostanets, we call them, the girls that work for Rosneft. Or she could work for another oil company. Maybe she doesn't work for Rosneft, but she works for one of the oil companies. And the idea is go to the rooms of these people at these trade shows, right? Get the computer, get all the information, get all the secrets, and there you go. I'm sorry, at this trade show here. And that's the plan with the top executives. Kind of harkens history well, this Praetorian Guard idea of the 500. And I just wanted to drill down and just keep exposing names, especially now, focusing now from DOD kind of in on the Navy and this Raymond Mabus. Remember, Raymond Mabus is the guy who had the Fat Leonard scandal. So wherever there's scandal, I continually follow on scandal. Whenever I see names blocked out here, like career incumbent, I say we need to know more about who was the chief information officer, principal deputy chief information officer. You're supposed to be able to go into the file and hit a control key and actually see who that person is. But again, is that Teresa Grafenstein, principal deputy chief information officer? Who is it? Why is it blocked out? There's just no good reason for it. Now, the special assistant is Tom Opel. So again, this is just to show you who these people are. He runs a company now for the old Secretary of Defense, which is Mabus. He's a communications guy. You can see his profile on Twitter. He's very anti-Trump, as you would guess. Now, here's Imran A. Ali, we talked about yesterday. And here's another person, Imran F. Ali, running with MoveOn.org. Now, is she the same person, a sister, change her hair, put the hijab on? I don't know. But it does call into question this SES and kind of these superdelegate hirings. Are these people actually moonlighting and doing different jobs that are actually political jobs? And this is the key to any Praetorian Guard, right, is that you want to have the government paying you for something supposedly working for the public, but you're actually working for the candidate, right? And something that we need to follow. Now, here's Clara Orr. She's another person that was listed, and because of her last name, we didn't know if she was related to Bruce Orr or not. But she's, again, working in energy again. And I didn't know the Bronx had East Coast Power and Gas. But one of the companies she worked for was Lukoil. And Lukoil owns a lot of oil, the second biggest company only to Gazprom in Russia, and I think Rosneft is up there as well. And they're on the sanctions list for 10 years. So why are they on the sanctions list? Well, I think they want to force Lukoil to sell off all their oil interests in all these other countries like Belarus and all these ex-satellite countries. I think that's the strategy of these sanctions. But again, people talk about sanctions, but then they really don't know that one level down of who actually is being sanctioned. We really don't know. Okay. Now, Trump, as we know, added the 13 Russians on the sanctions, so we're going to learn more about them soon. So that's my wrap up for this morning for the first missive out here today. I want to drill down more on SES, and we have lots and lots of names to go through. So there'll be a lot coming on SES today.